Yeah, that's right, I'm back. Now let's walk and talk about the Confederate flag, Sean Hannity, and Jay-Z. Didn't think I'd fit all three of those in a video. It's a triple threat, and today's that day. Now, obviously, the country has been talking about the Confederate flag for about a week straight. I have weighed in a couple of times on the main show. Sean Hannity is forcing me to do so again because he has an interesting policy for retailers like Amazon and Sears and Walmart and a number of others, eBay, who've decided to no longer sell any Confederate flag merchandise. He thinks, okay, fine, you can ban that, so long as you ban a couple of other things. Roll with it, Sean.
Well, Confederate flag sales, according to the Hill, are skyrocketing in the wake to push to ban it. Why? Because there are companies now, retailers, are banning the Confederate flag. Now, some of these same retailers, for example, Sears, Walmart, Amazon, eBay, and the rest of the retailers in the last 24 hours have announced that they intend to discontinue sales of the Confederate flag. I have a question. Can you still buy a Jay-Z CD at Walmart? Does the music department at Sears have any Ludacris albums? Can I download 50 Cent on Amazon? Can I do that? Can I get some Snoop Dogg albums on eBay? Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of music by those artists are chock full of the N-word, by the way, and the B-word, and the H-word, and racist, misogynist, sexist, anti-woman slurs. None of those retail executives would be caught dead using.
So first of all, right off the bat, he says they're filled with profane language, misogynistic, racist, sexist stuff that they're saying. I have a question for Sean Hannity. Sean, do you think that our problem with the Confederacy is that they used naughty language? That they called us names? That they called people the N-word even? Now, certainly that is an issue. That is an issue that African Americans have. That's an issue that those who support them have. That is not the principal issue. I would put it pretty far down on the list, actually. No, I think the slavery was the main issue. I think that the imprisonment, the selling, the rape, the torture, even the murder of an entire race of people because of the economic benefit that you could gain from doing so, that's the actual problem. And so if your analogy depends on the similarity in bad words that they use, you are willfully missing the entire fucking point. And by the way, while we're talking about those retailers, I am of course glad that they are responding to what they see as changes in the marketplace, the population no longer feeling acceptable to have those things being sold on eBay, Amazon, and sites like that, and that's fine. But that is a slightly separate issue from whether or not those flags should be displayed on Capitol buildings at states throughout the South. They seem related. I think they're quite distinct, and here's why. If somebody wants to buy a Confederate flag, if they want to put a Confederate flag in their house or on their house or something like that, I believe that that's probably some form of protected expression. I think that it labels you as kind of an ignorant jackass and almost certainly a racist, but I think that as an American you should have that right. That is very different, of course, from it being displayed on top of a Capitol building of a state, in the same way that you should be allowed to have the Bible or you know, like the Ten Commandments or something like that. That's different when it's displayed on Capitol grounds. See, in the case of the Confederacy, if you want to say that you support that ideology, fine, you're providing information about yourself to me. If, however, you want to put it on the state Capitol, what you're saying is that the state, the government, the actual authorities, they support the ideology of the Confederacy. They support fighting and dying and killing to maintain slavery as an economic system. It's the official sanction of the Confederacy that I have a problem with, not the idea that some people might own one of the flags. And one final point about Sean Hannity before we end our walk. Isn't it interesting that all of these conservative hosts are saying, how dare you call us racist just because we support the Confederacy or the Confederate flag? It's not fair. It's not about race. It's not about slavery. It's about, you know, history or bravery or whatever. So they're worried about being called racist. What is Sean Hannity's strategy then in responding to it? He compiled a list of black Americans that he hates and thinks should be banned from selling their music. He did that. He put together the list. He Googled it, I'm sure, because I doubt he knew all of those names. And he somehow thought that singling out a group of black Americans was a good way to ward yourself off from charges of racism. Or maybe he had a completely different objective. Maybe it wasn't actually that he was worried about being called a racist. Maybe it wasn't that he was trying to ward off people from calling him a racist. Maybe it was another attempt to double down and identify himself to racists who are potential audience members of his and to say to them, I'm one of you. Stick with me. Sean, I'm not sticking with you. I'm going to continue to watch some of your videos, of course, because I like attacking them on this channel, but that's pretty much the extent of my involvement with you. The entire debate has got me a little bit depressed. I like that there's some progress. I like that some of the state capitals are taking it down. I like that some of the businesses are no longer going to sell it. I think that people should continue to have the right to use it if they want to, but they're going to do so without being able to cloak themselves in ignorance like they have throughout the rest of American history. They are going to know what that flag actually represents, and they're going to know what it represents to people around them when they choose to display it on their house or their place of business. Thanks for walking and talking with me.